So this time we're going to go ahead and check out Control Mage, as you can probably tell from the deck list that I'm showing on the screen. This is, I don't know, a deck that I really still want to be good, but with so many good mid-range decks floating around, it's really fallen out of favor as of late. And I don't really know if it beats Ramp Scout very effectively, so it's kind of in a rough spot right now, but I don't think I can afford to keep you either. I really want to throw this back so that I could try to find like a Firebolt or an Execute. This is probably aggro. The problem though is the minute I throw this back, I know I'm gonna get a Manticora, right? So, I think we still have to do it. We gotta hunt for it. I would have preferred this off Prophecy, but it's not horrible. So I was starting to say that I don't think that there's necessarily like I don't know, an ideal pool of decks in the meta right now for Control Mage to shine. It's still entirely viable. It's not like the deck is dead by any means, but I think it's got some rough matchups right now, and that's kind of pushing it down a bit in terms of popularity and effectiveness. Oh, interesting. So this is probably Prophecy Battle Mage. Certainly a very aggressive kind, but we do get this, and we'll take the easy crushing blow. So we got that going for us. Crocodile. It's been a while. Hive Defender probably soaks, even though I want to draw. This potentially creates a 2-for-1. Could just go ahead and hit us with the mace if he's got it. I really like the premium of this Crocodile. So he goes with the Cast Out, which is legit. I think we're going to use one charge here. Kind of give us some options. Again, we're kind of just trying to bleed him out. This list doesn't run any healing outside of Knight of the Hour, which can be a problem. I really wish that there was room for like one, I don't know, Pillaging Tribune, or maybe even a healing potion, just something. Something outside Knight of the Hour would be fine. Well, he's taken an awfully long time to decide what to do here, and he put it in his hand. Now that is interesting. That makes me wonder if that's maybe a lightning bolt that he's saving for reach, and he doesn't want to trigger there. I think that the play here is just Ice Storm, right? I mean, we get to save a Hive Defender, clear the board, slow him down, which is again kind of all we're really looking for. Thief is solid.
This one
there is like nothing good that he could have taken from us there. Definitely taking the jab. Trying to decide if I want to Crushing Blow this as well. I mean, it does require a ring charge, and I don't know how I feel about that. But not taking damage is also kind of a big deal, so I think we're just going to do it. Definitely going to save this last one for maybe jumping up to a Mirac or a Manticora if we've drawn it.
Important things on my mind.
Alright. That's legit. Could just Dawn's Wrath for only the Encano, where we could Knight of the Hour, would mitigate some damage, potentially get damage on this, and then put us in position for another Ice Storm if he plays more cards to be greedy. Saving the Dawn's Wrath feels important because we don't know what he got off of the Thief of Dreams, but we have to assume it was like one of these two, neither of which are good for us.
Let none defile our temple.
And as much as I want to pickpocket here as well, I think that we do not. I think saving the ring charge is probably more important. Because again, we're going to want to get to one of these pretty early. Alright, well, we know what he got. So it actually kind of works in our favor. It means we don't have to worry about these. A little bit of a bummer because we wanted Ice Storm to potentially clear both, but now that we aren't worried about either of these, the Dawn's Wrath is entirely safe. He's doing a good job of pacing himself, right? Still has 4 cards in hand. So many ways that I want to address that. There aren't many, like, quality Mirror targets anyway, so I think it's safe.
You cannot hope to outrun this.
I think it's safe to just grab that now since it's the only thing he's got. Saving this for Atromancer. Some Prophecy Battle Mages do, in fact, run Atromancer. So keeping this is kind of a big deal, since we're down 1. Alright, so now we start with a bit of our development.
Go again?
Holding on to anything
Before
interesting?
we do anything. Fate Weaver seems like the best choice there.
By the 8th, they will meet their makers.
He's probably got like an Elit or something, so if we take him to the cusp, he's going to get an activation. I think that we just pass and try to go for the Alpha Strike, assuming that he doesn't just outright concede here. Because we do have Paarthurnax next turn if we're patient.
My arrows shall fly true.
Yeah, again, so many ways that we could develop this. We could saturate with these, which would be entirely reasonable. And save the Paarthurnax. This gets 5 extra damage on the board, but removes the 1/1. This is 9 extra damage on the board and has the potential to remove that. This is likely better. Alright, so Soul Tear is great. Fire Breath does give us some removal. Because this has to target enemies, I'm actually just going to go ahead and bounce it. I don't think that the 1 damage direct matters a ton. We now have Soul Tear for Knight of the Hour, which is a really big deal for potentially stabilizing next turn if necessary. We're also staring at 14, 18, 20, 25. So we are 26. So now we are now at a point where if we do that, we do give him the chance of elitting or Arena to give himself a rune, but we do also threaten lethal. Now the chances of us actually hitting lethal, even though we'll have that amount of damage, is pretty slim. Largely because, again, it appears to be Prophecy Battle Mage, so he's going to hit something.
Ready to join
But at least we have the ability to kind of plan for it. Alright, so he's going to lock that down.
My arrows shall fly true.
And so far so good, even without the Ice Storm. Again, we can fully clear this, so that's not too much of an issue. Let's see what this gets us first. Dark Rebirth seems monstrously good. We're going to go ahead and do that. Oh man, there are so many quality options right now. We have Execute and Fire Breath. Could also just steal one. Could just leave one of the 1/1s and yeah, actually, let's do this. And let's just generate some pretty insane value.
Greetings.
So we still have a Soul Tear if something horrible goes wrong. We still threaten lethal next turn. This gives us even more reach. So, yeah. If he does not concede soon, we should have it, because we've got a whole host of answers. We're going to try to save the Parth just so that we can potentially skip the last rune. So we're going to come in with the Mirac. And let's come in with this next.
Should have just let me pick your pocket.
Trying to do it in chunks of 5. Let's come in with this. Alright, here we go. Got lots of removal in hand, so if he does drop a guard, it's not a huge deal. Harpy's really the only thing that's going to slow this down at this point. And we've seen one, so perhaps...
We'll see how they like someone who fights back.
Alright, so we can just for free go ahead and do that. And then this basically seals it minus a Harpy. Harpy would shackle that and prevent it. Other than a Harpy... Oh! Always punished. I was about to say, other than a Harpy, we should be fine. Now, is there any way for us to still generate lethal? We have 2. If we were to pop the book, that would be 4, 7, 9. But we would have to also play both of the books. Alright, so it would appear that we do not have enough for the full-on lethal, so we're just going to go Ice Storm. I know it clears most of our board, but it also clears a really large chunk of his. And we're going to go ahead and use our Soul Tear for a... let's grab the Knight of the Hour for the health.
Let none defile our temple.
He does have a fistful of cards there, and we don't want him to try to burst us down. He can't answer the board and burst us. Even if he answers the board, we've got a lot more gas than he does. I'm incredibly confident with the hand that we have, so... Again, Ice Storm hit a bit of our board, but it ensured that he lost all of his, which I think was more important. Now, it's possible that we could have simply cleared without the Ice Storm, right? We could have went like this, and then maybe like bounce something and save the Ice Storm, but...
I used to be an adventurer like you.
I find it interesting that if you have a premium Dark Rebirth, that the copy it makes becomes premium, even if the original was not.
Well played.
It has been an engaging hunt.
At 16, I'm
defeated.
confident that that is it. Alright, so we survived a Prophecy Battle Mage. You get some rewards as well, that always feels good. Still kind of hanging out in the dumpster, but probably won't start climbing for serious for another 2 or 3 days. I want to test a bunch of stuff. Let's go ahead and dive right into Game 2 with Control Mage. I'm still trying to get the feel of things. I think the meta's settling in pretty well right now, and it is, I think, clear that like mid-range mage and mid-range sorcerer are probably the top of the pile right now. I think it's hard to argue against either one right now. Let's try to find some more early game. And I didn't really find it, but I still want this over a schemer, so. A lot of people are going to group mid-range assassin up there as well. I think that mid-range assassin is great. For me personally, I think that it's mage and sorcerer just a hair above it. Assassin's probably still tier 1 if I was gonna tier things, but sorcerer and mage play very similarly, but they're both good for different reasons. They have some different strengths to them, so... Alright, so we are gonna go ahead and just take the Firebolt here, because if he continues to develop over there, The Hive Defender will hopefully wall up for us. Yeah. So, go ahead and do that. The fact that we've survived this long and haven't taken a ton of damage is pretty good for us. We're hitting like a good mid area in terms of our removal. That's a bit of a bummer though, because he's going to get likely 2 curses from that. So, lots of value.
There are ill winds this day.
And he's going to smuggler it over, so it does appear that he is on the movement package. A couple of different ways that we could handle this, but I think Knight of the Hour is the easiest. We could Mage's Trick here, which would be kind of nice, but considering we're likely going to end up just playing Ice Storm next turn anyway, I think Knight of the Hour makes the most sense. Let's gain some health, kind of wall up. It was probably a safe attack there because I don't think this deck runs Afflicted Elite, and we clearly don't have any drain creatures, but... Alright.
My scales move in shadow.
Oh, relatively okay. So this was a mistake. A lot of people do that. They think, well, like, let's just let him trade in, but when you know that Ice Storm is likely coming, and against Control Mage, you should expect it here. By trading this in, it means that this would have cleared when I play my own Ice Storm. Whereas now I get to keep the defender and clear the board. So a lot of people are reluctant to, you know, it'll feel like a waste, right? You're like, oh, I'm just throwing damage in and it's not going to die anyway. But
Just give me a name.
there are plenty of times where that is entirely a reasonable line. We're going to go ahead and ping that and then firebolt it. It feels like a 2-for-1, but because the one cycles, we're kind of okay with it. And we're just trying to keep things clear. And with the bolt and the javelin, we should be able to survive the next couple of turns until this comes online, and then we should be in a good spot. We'll have Manticore for one lane. With the reverse, we should be able to lock that lane down. And then Dawn's Wrath if they load up the other lane. Actually, given what he's invested there, it's tempting to just Dawn's Wrath that outright, but I think we want to punish him for not being able to proc that right away. So far, so good in terms of, you know, keeping our path. So there's the giant that he cancels. Interesting. Again, we could Dawn's Wrath, but I'm kind of okay with the saving it, I think, because there's not a guarantee that we'll get another good execute target in the future, so taking advantage of that now I think is fine.
If I fall, the hiss will replay me.
Alright, so we're just going to go ahead and drop a bomb. Let's go ahead and ram that in now. So he could have answers to this, but if he doesn't, then contesting here is definitely a mistake for him. And if he comes over this way now, we do still have Dawn's Wrath shenanigans. Oh, that is a very, very timely... Let's just go ahead and do that now, even pre-attack. Very, very timely choice. Let's take this. It only gives him one rune, so I think I'm okay with that line.
Holding on to anything interesting?
And I think this is a kind of a no-brainer. The Cliff Racer is fantastic for us there. In fact, the Cliff Racer, when combined with these, represents 12 burst damage from hand. So if he does not hit prophecies, that puts a pretty reasonable amount of reach into our hand just by ripping that with the pickpocket. Alright, so he does have the answer there. Kind of a bummer. No more reverse shenanigans on the Manticora. But at the moment, I'm not overly
Should have just let
concerned.
me pick your pocket.
Again, we'll take him down to 16 here, I think. The Dawn's Wrath, I think, is fine. And then to contest the field lane, we'll put the Daggerfall out. And yeah, now we're at a point where we can legitimately threaten lethal next turn with crazy Cliff Racer plays. Oh, Lex. We used to be able to, but it looks like he was saving some quality Garnag plays.
Should have just let me pick your pocket.
Nice try. Care to go again?
By the 8.
So this was actually a play mistake on my part. The Elusive Schemer should have went over here. Daggerfall is fine because it has ward, but assuming he runs Unstoppable Rage, he theoretically could rage and get extra damage here. Basically, I just fed him 6 damage. And I should not have put that past him. Alright, so that's a good sign. Because of Garnag, that means he can no longer rage, if he does have it. Alright, so there's those curses that we knew he was holding on to. Alright, so the good news is, with the Ice Storm, we can full clear and take care of Garnag, which sets us up very nicely for the burst damage the following
just
turn.
let me pick your pocket.
So we're just going to go ahead and clear. And then we'll shoot for the Cliff Racer lethal. If he was at 10, we could just Incano Rebirth, but sadly... Alright, so... Rebirth number 1, Moment of Truth, no prophecy.
Nicely done. It has been an engaging
Rebirth number 2. So, the Riften pickpocket on the Cliff Racer proved to be very, very beneficial, and we lock in 2 wins on Control Mage. Feels good.